Welcome to this video lecture on the case of Balbarino versus Pacific Ocean Manning, Inc. We will explore key aspects of seafarer disability benefits, the concept of work aggravation, and the legal burden of proof required for unlisted illnesses. In this first section, we will review the factual and medical antecedents of the case, covering the employment history, the hazardous nature of the shipboard duties involved, and the medical onset of the condition. Alcide Balbarino served as an able seaman on the M/V Coral Nettuno, a chemical tanker. He was frequently exposed to toxic chemicals and extreme heat. During his fifth contract, he developed a tumor and thigh swelling, eventually being diagnosed with alveolar soft part sarcoma. The medical opinions in this case were divided. The company-designated physician argued the illness was purely genetic and unrelated to work. Conversely, independent experts maintained that constant exposure to toxic vapors and strenuous labor aggravated the sarcoma. Next, let's examine the procedural trajectory of the case, which saw significant disagreement as it moved through various administrative and judicial tribunals. The NCMB voluntary arbitrators initially granted the claim, finding a reasonable probability of work connection. The Court of Appeals reversed this, relying on the company doctor's report. Finally, the Supreme Court reinstated the NCMB ruling, affirming the claim. In this section, we analyze the Supreme Court's legal reasoning and how the court interpreted key doctrines under the POEA-SEC. The court identified three pillars. First, the disputable presumption of work-relatedness for unlisted illnesses. Second, the standard of proof, which requires only reasonable probability rather than absolute certainty. Third, the recognition that work conditions can aggravate pre-existing diseases. Regarding the quantum of proof, claimants do not need to prove direct causation to a scientific certainty. A 51% probability, or substantial evidence, is legally sufficient to establish that working conditions contributed to the condition. Crucially, the Supreme Court ruled that a company physician's bare assertion that an illness is genetic cannot defeat a claim. If work conditions act as an environmental trigger that worsens the pathology, the illness is compensable under maritime law. Key takeaways include the protection of seafarers for unlisted illnesses, the importance of work aggravation, the need for granular independent medical assessments, and the rejection of broad, theoretical genetic defenses by employers. This concludes our summary of the Balbarino case. We hope this video has provided clarity on these important maritime legal principles. The images used in this video have been sourced from Kepler and PictureWall.